All righty. We are officially recording. All right, guys. Oh, you know what? I forgot our earbuds, man. We're gonna have to edit this beginning part out. You get the right, I get the pick up
Yeah,
here.
yeah.
I feel like it picked up, right?
I hear some static.
Yeah. Okay, there we go.
Okay.
Let me set this up to the front. All right, so here we go. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the DreamWeavers Podcast. Today, we are doing something entirely different. It's just me with you today, Ronnie. Deanna is not on location. She is in New York where she is, and I am down here in Texas. And of course, we talk about, or I've said that numerous times. But anyway, one of the things that we had talked about that I told you as we're going along, this podcast is going to continue to evolve. And one of the things is getting to do them in person. We're finally here. This is our first one. Everybody meet Mr. Daniel. Welcome,
Hello.
Daniel. And we decided to do a beautiful hike out here in nature. We found, well, actually, you did. You found this beautiful spot. Um, and we're staying next door to each other. He's in New Braunfels. I'm in Sabine, but I'm working in New Braunfels. So anyway, all the things, here we are, and we get to have a beautiful, wonderful conversation with Daniel here. And the way we met, I'm going to tell this because I
Yeah.
love it. I love it. The way we met was I was walking by and I noticed a truck at first, and he was sitting there eating his lunch, and I was walking by and I was like, man, do you see that truck? It's like, what was it, like a 1980s truck,
Yeah. It's like a
Toyota?
Toyota, yeah.
Yeah, it was so cool. And anyway, so I noticed the truck. He's like, yeah, that's cool. And then I noticed his bike. And he's like, yeah, it's purple. His bike is purple, by the way. It's a very cool bicycle. I don't know, you can tell us all about it. But anyway, and then you opened up and said, I just came back from New York. I biked all the way from Austin to New York. And of course, I had to know more. So here we are. Daniel, wherever you want to go and however and whatever you want to say to take it away, it's all yours, my friend.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, I think originally we connected because of our spiritual connection and also the theme of this podcast because my journey, was a soul journey to go from Austin to New York. It was just like me being out in the woods and hostels and tents and meeting random people and just doing something extreme I wanted to do. But ultimately it was for Zunufana from like the Zunu tribe in Colombia. And that was the original reason. That's actually how we started talking more and why we're doing the podcast was for Zunufana. So it really is kind of changed my life beyond my spiritual awakening, but this whole Zunufana experience was how we originally connected.
Yeah. And you were telling me about Xena, say it again.
Zunufana.
Zunufana. Thank you. I had
Yeah, yeah,
a
yeah. No, that's okay.
brain blank for a moment. Uh, Zunufana, and I had to, you told me about it, and then I went and did some research as well. So tell
Nice.
everybody who doesn't know who and
Yeah.
what Zunufana is. You guys get to learn.
Really it starts with the Zunu tribe in modern day Colombia. And about 2000 years ago, this tribe existed. They had their own language, which is a dead language today. But they still have the reservation in Colombia, a few miles out of Medellin. And this tribe, they basically had there are a lot of indigenous tribes around the world in Africa and kind of the similar beliefs of one with nature, being connected to the stars and the cosmos of our timeline and the feminine divine. And so, with that, I feel like when I heard about Zunufana, the historical record is that it was an energy force, somewhat like a energetic being, but also an entity, or it also like an energy of the rivers and the mountains of how they tell the story. But basically, it appeared before the tribe and taught them the cosmos, and that's how they named themselves the Zunu tribe after this Zunu fauna energy. But the Spanish conquistadors, like many of them that took a lot of the indigenous tribes' gold and ways of life, they took it and it's in the Vatican. So with that, they kind of destroyed and wiped out what was there during that time because they conquered them, and then of course the modern political sector. But they do still thrive in small numbers over there, and so Yeah.
So if their language, I do have a question real quick.
Mhm.
If their language is, you said it's extinct.
Mhm.
So do they still speak their original
No,
language
they
or do they
don't.
even,
No,
okay.
it's completely dead. I think there's only a few fragments that are saved just through some historical records,
So they don't
but
even know their original.
right, yeah, it's very, yeah, and there's over, from my understanding, like over 500 dead languages recorded, but I think there's a lot more, of course.
Wow.
But yeah, so there, in my understanding is a lot of these dead languages were really star cosmic sacred languages because the whole reason why they made it was because that was the way they were describing with certain words the universe around us. So it was like a sacred truth that was tied into that language, from my understanding.
Hmm.
So, but yeah,
So,
yeah, I'm trying to really understand how all this works too, because I know there's not much online about this tribe compared to other major tribes out there. So that's again why my trip, I'm going to go to Colombia myself to not only tell them that I've discovered this energy through a channeling, spelled out. And this is how for years I was trying to make contact with an entity, much trial and error, meditation, use of psychedelics. I was constantly on this journey, but it didn't really manifest itself until years without me not trying and slowly kind of, I wouldn't say crept up as like a negative thing, but kind of took me by surprise. And then that's when again I wrote down its name. I was like, well, what energy is this? And so it spelled out Zunu, Zenu, and basically told me to look him up, like look my energy up. And sure enough, that's how I found out about the Zunu tribe. So that's where I'm at
hmm.
now, where I'm really about to go approach the tribe, and I'm trying to document this along the way if I'm able to film them, but write about it where I'll describe how, because I don't know how they're going to feel about a Western man coming out of nowhere saying, "Hey, I'm channeling your ancient deity that approached me, now in 2022, how they're going to feel. And not only that, but I have new information. So that's kind of like very prophetic if you look at it in a biblical sort of way. It's like I'm coming representing this energy and saying, I'm not Zunufana per se, but Zunufana has spoken these energetic things that he would want me to relay. And again, too, he wants me to help out the tribe in the long run, like stay connected to whatever I'm doing that gets affiliated with Zunufana. So there's more to this, but I'm just trying to get to the bottom of this really and on a personal level and just kind of have closure to this, chapter as well. You know,
So did you, did Zunufana start coming through while you were going through your awakening?
not during my awakening, but after I did connect with this entity. It did tell me that it has been with me throughout my awakening and has been the one assisting me. And basically, long story short, really what Zunufana has been trying to explain to me is that this is the real alien invasion. And it's not really an invasion, not really alien, but as we can see with the files coming out now and the conspiracies that they will supposedly be doing um, fake alien kind of content where they're going to be pushing this kind of agenda where we have to be afraid of these supernatural things that they're going to be projecting in the sky and other things. But Xenophon was telling me that these ancient beings have already been here helping us, and they're the ones who've been helping the indigenous tribes and all over the world, and again, if you're Christian, you believe in the Bible, they say those are the fallen ones. Those are the demons that were giving the forbidden knowledge to the people, and that it's demonic forces. And of course, now, again, this goes into now what we're also seeing that, again, depending on what you believe and how you see this, but from my understanding with Zunufana was that there are dark entities that possess, manipulate, take, and steal and lie, but it's all happening under God. So it's like basically we do live in a multidimensional place where there's many things happening, many realms, but there is a cosmic balance of what you want to call it, God, a centerpiece, a unification personified. So Zunifano was telling me that that's why he has a legacy because he's never manipulated, possessed, or stolen from the people. He's only here to help, like he's helped teach them the cosmos. So what we're experiencing now is the veil completely open, and this is the real. contact. It's where we're reconnecting with our roots as a species, coming
Mhm.
back to our original teachings of the fabric of our cosmos and the stars. So for me, this is really profound. That's why I definitely am trying to get this out there.
Yes.
Yeah,
Just so much
yeah,
yes.
yeah.
Like you and I talk about this, and then I talk about this with other people. It's I don't have words.
Hmm.
How much is coming through at this time?
I see what you're saying.
Like, where do you begin with those words? Like, there's just so much coming through in so many different ways at
Hmm.
this time.
Yeah, it's a
And
lot.
it's like, and everybody's got their own journey
Yeah,
that they're on within themselves, however they're getting through and however, whatever role they're playing,
mhm.
then it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it is.
It's a lot. Okay, so this came to you like right after your awakening and all of that. So how does it correlate and play into like when we first met and you telling me that you just got back from riding all the way from New York to
Oh yeah,
Austin,
I.
Austin to New York. So tell me, so I understand that that was a personal thing for you, that riding and getting
Mhm,
on your bike and
mhm.
being one with nature. I get
Yeah,
that. And that was a personal, like, part of your awakening and your coming into yourself.
yeah. It
But
was like a.
Zunufana had already started talking to you by then.
Yeah, he already was before that. I think really what this was an. It was an accumulation of being all in, so to speak.
Mm,
So, the awakening was a process, understanding my shadow was a process. I was studying black magic and lost in that, and that was a process, and then I understood the cosmic order, got out of that, and then still throughout all that time, I was still trying to understand in this multidimensional realm, place, time, making contact. What would that be like? What would that consciously be like, physically, mentally, emotionally? And so there was years of dedication of trying to understand and fathom what that contact would look like, feel like, and be, beyond a dream, beyond, something, so a feeling. So, but once all that accumulation of time passed, that's when literally it was almost like a silence over a period of time. I was very meditative, doing a lot of yoga, very clean and mind, body, spirit. And I think it was
mhm.
after all that soul work of constantly just quieting my own mind, quieting my own brain, so to speak, that
And getting comfortable with the quiet.
right, that I was able to hear and listen and
Mhm.
really listen. And I think that's when the accumulation of my soul work came into play. And that's when again that I found how deep the rabbit hole went, at least in my own story, because it was like, well, wait a minute, I've been here all along with you, I've been helping you, and then told me all these new information about things that I was then expanded my knowledge of understanding. So I lived with that for quite some time and didn't tell that many people. But as I developed my relationship with myself and this understanding this energy, I feel like I got kind of like new intel or new information, so to speak, that developed more predominantly over time. And as the world started to shift, I started to see everything I was also seeing come to light. And so, with all that accumulating, as I was getting older, I kind of felt like, you know what, I just need to go all in. I just really need to just throw myself out there into the world, do something really extreme, just really be out and connect with the nature, and get out of Texas. And then I need to get to Colombia. I need to go talk to this tribe. And so before I went to Colombia, it was kind of like this cleansing. I kind of just was like, I'm just gonna bike into the sunset and just kind of just literally biking it. I had no plan, I had no map, I had no route. I literally just
I'm
said
laughing
north.
because I might resonate with this
Yeah,
whole
yeah.
freaking
No, no, literally,
line
yeah.
of this, like,
No, I know, and I just,
where
I
you
just,
just like, I don't know what's gonna happen, but there's the edge and I'm going over.
yeah,
Yeah.
literally, man, I just took off, and it was like a really big reset that I feel like set the stage and the platform for my coming era for all this. And so for me, yeah, it's been a very emotional um time as well. And the awakening was me realizing, our identities, but it was definitely a process and years in the making for sure, and it's still in the making right now.
Well, I think like right before we started recording this, we were just having, a personal conversation about like how many different types of people we've been.
Yeah.
And I think that we're not done yet,
No, no, definitely. I think it's
especially with the other conversation we had about the 2 to 500.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah.
Just so you know, we're planning on living about between Daniel and I. He's looking at 2 to 500, maybe eight
Yeah,
hundred
yeah.
years, and it's so interesting because I said sometimes I feel like I'm gonna be here more than 200 years, And he was like, "Oh my gosh!" So we had a huge moment about that where we resonated that we both think we're gonna be here for a long
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
That means we're
Yeah.
gonna be friends for a really long time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, that's exciting.
Long time.
Okay, so what? And so I know that you currently don't know what your role is in all this,
Uh, I
other than to be like, hey, I know this energy, but I know you don't know what that looks like yet. But what do you think? What do you?
I do feel more actually. I do know
Okay,
lately more. It's
interesting.
it's fairly ultimately it's just a bridge facilitator of energy. It's just us, the ones that the ones that remember the spiritual infrastructure that can bridge the gaps between our knowledge of understanding our schematics of our biofields, our energetic fields, our realm, because there's no way we're going to be able to come together, unite and spiritually connect with mind, body, spirit if we don't know the fundamentals of what we actually are made of. And so you actually have to start breaking out the schematics. You actually start have to talking about the four elements and the periodic tables and the I like to call it the masculine side of spirituality. We've delved into the feminine, which is the emotions, the chakras, the understanding, the knowing, the connecting, the nature. But we also have to remember we've been lied about the masculine parts, and that's the stuff that's been hidden, like how our phones interact with our interactive biofields of our auras and how they send RF channels into our DNA. Like, it's very scientific, but it's also true. And it's also only knowledge that you would know if you're also spiritually connected because you're talking about specific sciences that mainstream doesn't conclude as scientific only on its own. So they don't compare these things together to actually show these deeper truths that I'm talking about.
Hmm.
And so I
Hmm.
feel like when we can really come together, understand the fundamentals, and a lot of this delves into like what we see in the files or what CIA is doing with these projects, that like they've already admitted to astral projecting and to all these things that we know in the New Age communities. But again, the New Age communities aren't really connected in the understanding of these physical nuances of the infrastructure because we're more focused on healing and understanding and connecting to our communities. But these are very vital for us to actually move to the next step in our transcendence, which is truly knowing what our minds and bodies, spirits are consistent are made of, so that we can really understand how our Merkabas work, how we can channel that energy on a whole
And
nother
what we're
deeper level,
capable.
and
Yes,
what we're
through
truly
that.
capable of.
That's yes.
Yes, yes. So that's very important. Yeah, yeah. So it just takes time. We got to get the right people connected because there are people in the fields of those metaphysical sciences very deep. There's also ones on the healing Reiki side. There are also we really need to connect both of those. So
Hmm.
yeah.
Hi, friend.
Yeah.
Um, I lost my train of thought because
Uh-huh.
the kids play, or, you know.
Yeah, we can end it. Mhm.
Yeah. Yes, we can. That's
Yeah.
right. You're gonna. Um. Anyway,
Uh,
where was I? Hi. Um. Yeah. So, okay. So with that, you feel like, so I know that we've talked about this also,
mhm.
and I honestly think etheric themes are going to be here towards the end of this year, like halfway towards the
Mhm.
holiday course. And then of course, whatever 2027 is going to bring.
Mhm.
So with that being said, as I hear all of this information and know that they're coming, with it comes this disclosure. Everybody's talking about
Mhm.
disclosure, right? And all this information that is going to be coming to light because of all this. Is that part of it?
Yeah, I think we're going to see a lot of real and fake, like going head to head. And I think that's where there's going to be just so much confusion.
Yeah.
And yeah, because there's going to be stuff
Yeah.
false in the sky, real stuff in the sky, supernatural, also planned stuff, false flags, like real chaos, fake chaos. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of different things happening. at the same time. I think that's where like Dolores Cannon, we talked about like the split. Where I think now more is about the time of collecting our tribes and connecting, not so much trying to change minds because a lot of the minds are already made. There are some people in the transition process where they've switched over, but they're infant stage, so to speak. They're really just trying to understand, and everyone's on their own journey with that. But with that, the ones that have already made up their mind have made up their mind. And that's on a spiritual level. Not that they're like negative people or hateful people, but whatever reason they're not transcending this time around, they're and whatever human story will play out into their belief systems. So now I think the gap will just get a lot bigger in that, you know.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think the same way that when I say we, people like us who see the world like we see the world, uh, we can always start to see it without hope.
Hmm.
And I think we'll just be able to see it more
Yeah,
as it
no,
all
definitely.
unfolds.
Yeah, and I
Um,
think that's where we're gonna have peace and harmony, but also chaos at the same time. So, we're gonna see a lot of crazy stuff, but we're also going to prosper. So I think it's just gonna be in a different context than what we're used to because,
yeah, it's exciting. 'Cause I don't know. I keep telling people this, man. The things I've seen so far,
hmm yeah,
you know, like recorded from
yeah.
to cordless phones,
I remember, yeah, the rotary phones,
to
yeah,
like to just,
using cassettes and everything. So now,
yeah.
yeah.
So I just keep thinking, wow, if I've seen all this in my life, imagine what things I'm gonna get to see.
Oh, yeah. No, I think
You
virtual
know,
reality,
like,
everything's
and it's gonna, yeah, to virtual reality.
going to be
I
everything.
this virtual reality experience
I've
with
used a
Disney.
VR, yeah.
Yeah, the VR.
I've had a Google VR for a little bit. Yeah, they're
It's
pretty wild.
it's fun. Well, we went to uh, experience the VR
Oh, that's
experience,
cool.
and everybody went, and it was a lot of fun. Yeah, it was
Hmm.
really weird.
Hmm.
It was crazy, but it was
Hmm.
a lot of fun. And so, yeah. Anyway, I digress. Yeah. Oh my God. So much. All right. So, what else do you want to share with people about this journey? Like, what is where you're at with where you're at right now? Because I feel so special and so lucky and so blessed because I'm kind of just in the beginning
Oh,
phase of
yeah.
it. Like, you're not halfway there yet. You're
Yeah.
like in the beginning stages. I feel so blessed and lucky to get to be along this ride with you, right?
Yeah.
Um, so at this stage right now where you're at, what do you want people to know?
Um,
Should they like
I think
how do
ultimately,
we believe you? How should we know that we should listen to what Daniel has to say and channeling the Zunufana and then yeah,
yeah. So there's two things I'm actually creating right now. I'm creating a book called How to Love Yourself. And basically it's just the concept of loving yourself. And I feel like on one aspect, it shows my journey and not my story, but in the steps it takes to do what you need to do, despite what the world tells you, or what you do need to do to be fulfilled and happy in a sense, despite your beliefs. I mean, you could go to church and read this book. You could believe atheist and read this book. You could be new age and believe in aliens and read this book. It's the most basic fundamentals of what we need to do to appropriate our mind, body, spirit, and how we can be in tune with that to the highest levels. So I feel like that has been my foundation and my spiritual, physical growth that enabled me to then do this journey in real life. And in that context, the other aspect is I'm making this like short documentary film like Cosmic Lines, God, Alien, Prophets. And ultimately all it's showcasing is my journey. So if you are Christian, you would view this as, oh, he's talking to demonic forces, he's being tricked. If you're atheist, you probably, oh, it's psychosis or it's some kind of physical gain. Or if you're new age, you're like, oh, I believe him. I'm curious. I want to know more. I do understand about indigenous tribes and aliens. So my whole point to this is that again, no matter what you believe, you're creating your reality with your thoughts. And that's my point I'm trying to get across. So we all may believe something different, but that is creating the fundamentals of that. So I'm letting that be interpreted by the viewer. And what my hope is to just expand minds to where even if they do believe in the Bible or the Quran or a science book or whatever, that they're understanding and self-aware of the reality that they're creating is what they're seeing. So, it's just like how someone who's Catholic and maybe in Mexico sees ghosts, but someone who's a scientist and atheist has never seen something supernatural at all. Their minds are correlating to what they know and believe and what they see. So, again, you can believe anything, but it's going to come true if you believe it.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that because I
Yeah.
tell people the same thing. Just get aware.
Yeah.
Just get aware.
Hmm.
Just become aware.
Yeah.
The moment that you can sit there and be aware of this breath that you're taking,
Hmm.
of that noise that you hear, or
Hmm.
wow, start something, the moment
Hmm.
that you can go, wow,
Hmm.
yeah, get aware.
Hmm.
It's a game changer.
Yeah.
It's a game changer. And it's a game changer no matter.
Hmm.
Like you were talking about, it doesn't matter if you and I do those spiritualists,
Hmm.
find people who never just get aware.
Hmm.
It'll affect you, period.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Hmm.
The other one is, man, I talk about this one all the time, Daniel. You hit the nail on the head. This is why we're such good friends. I love you so much. Thoughts become things.
Yeah. Hmm.
I think those two go hand in hand.
Hmm.
Yeah, thoughts become things. And
Hmm.
if you can
Sure.
get aware,
Hmm.
you can really see how thoughts become things and how you create your own everything.
Hmm.
Mm,
Yeah.
so good. All right. So this has been
Yeah.
so freaking
Yeah,
cool.
it's awesome. I loved it. It was great.
I love doing it in person. I love meeting everybody because we get to meet people, the power of the internet,
Hmm.
those we get to get connected with.
Yeah.
Fun. We have some great, beautiful friends in Scotland and London,
Oh, it's
also.
awesome.
So that's really cool. But anyway, um, thank you. I
Yeah,
want
it
to
was wonderful.
you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much
Yeah,
for
it was
doing
great.
this with me.
It was so
Thank
great.
you. Look at this. Oh my gosh. Everybody out there who's tuning in, I want to thank you so much again for being here as always. Deanna usually does the closings, so I know that she always says stay the left and stay the worst. Um, Outside of that, guys, thank you so much for being here. This was a quick one because I'm just trying this on for the first time. I think there's going to be more to come, and I'll get better at it.
Yeah, this was great. It was fun. Oh, this is super good.
It was really good. I'm okay with it.
Yeah, it
I
was great.
love it, but I hope you enjoy it. And Daniel, mwah,
Yeah, it
thank
was
you so
great.
much. And we're going to hike out of here, guys. Thank you again so much for being here. Have a great rest of your day.
Bye.
Stop recording. Stop recording.